Hey positive readers, it's Positive Writer here today with a discussion, and today I'm going to be talking about why diversity deserves more slack. This is specifically about people who are also diverse themselves, writing their own voices, novels, characters that are about them, stories that are about them, and why I think it deserves a lot more leeway when it comes to representing the whole group. What I mean by this is, you know how we have seen everybody who's ever lived, who's at least my age, 19, and has been watching media for a long time. You see the variety of white, cis, straight characters in stuff. You see the variety. You know what I'm saying? It's been made since the dawn of time, and so it's like, look at all this stuff. Look at all of this crazy stuff. Again, there's so much variety, which means that theoretically, because there is such a variety of things to choose from and characters to choose from in different genres and all of this stuff where they can see themselves represented, I think, personal opinion, that it's just a lot easier to see an individual person being represented by this thing. Like, the more media is there, the more the average person can feel like they can see themselves in the media. This is in contrast to how me as a marginalized person and how marginalized groups as a whole find it very scarce and very rare that they see themselves represented, that we see ourselves represented, because there is such a small amount of us being represented. You know, because in any group of people, there are so many types of people. Again, the variety I was talking about, there are a variety of types of people in every single group. But when there is such a focused sort of view on one type of people, it's easy for them to see themselves and very hard for us. And so something that I see myself fall into as a marginalized person that consumes media is this sort of mentality that if the person, and because I actually seek out media where I see myself represented, and if I seek something out that's written by somebody who is in the same marginalized group as me, and then I read that book, and then I don't think that they represented me correctly, I will then be mad. I'll be like, why would you do this? Like, this is ridiculous. I didn't experience this like this. This is fake. I don't, unrealistic. Get out of my face. Garbage. Two-star read. Okay. And that is something that I did, I know specifically one time, I've probably done it other times, that I specifically did a couple years ago when I was reading a book. And now, I'm much more mature, and I can look at that and be like, hold on, that's incorrect. In my opinion, I don't want to do that ever again, and I'm coming here to kind of just present this discussion to you, so maybe you can think twice about doing it too, because I just think that that's not fair. Why does any author have to shoulder the pressure, especially as a marginalized person, to then represent the entire group of marginalized people? And deeper than that, it's not even possible. Like, thinking that it's possible for one person to write a character or a group of characters that are in a marginalized group that somehow represent every single person in that group is not fair. But because we as marginalized people do not have any media, or have a very small number of media, a smaller number than the masses of people being represented, I can tend to just be like, this is not right representation for me, and then just throw it out. I don't think that's fair, because what will happen if we do the opposite of that and act with more empathy and treat people with respect and educate people if you do feel like the entire community is being represented wrong by this, because again, people make mistakes. And people put harmful stuff into their work without even knowing it sometimes. So, again, more education, I think, would really help people to represent better. And also a realization that, like I said, nobody can be expected to represent an entire group of people with one character or a couple characters. It's not possible. And so instead of expecting that, we should support the people who are representing us, whether we agree with representation or not. Because that allows for more people to then be inspired by that work and then continue to broaden the horizon of marginalized media that there is, so that more individual people can see themselves represented. I think you understand what I'm saying, because I finally understand what I'm saying. When there's a big group of stuff, there's a bigger percent chance that the average person is going to see themselves in that. When there's a smaller percentage, all of the people who are in this group are going to jump onto this thing and want to see themselves in it. If they do not, then there's a fight and there's an anger and there's cancel culture and there's like a throwaway of whatever this is. And there's devaluing to this person's art just because people didn't see themselves. And that's not fair because that's their art. You know, they have their own experience as a marginalized person, and it deserves to be written about and to be explained and to be respected for their own experience. That is probably other people's experiences too. I think that it's just an opportunity. This discussion, I want it to be an opportunity for more empathy in marginalized groups. In the book community specifically, I just want us to be more open to things that we might not necessarily think are the best. You can like gauge for yourself whether or not something is harmful, and again, if it is, if you think it's harmful, talk to that person. Like, authors are just people. You know what I'm saying? A published author, they're just a human being. So find a way, if you can, to try and message them about it. Contact them. Tell them that this was harmful. You know? Things like not putting in trigger warnings for certain content, you know, that marginalized groups go through. I think that can definitely be something that you can definitely have a gripe with and then go talk to that author about, or the publisher, so that can happen. Because that's important. Because you don't want to trigger people in your work. But, I'm talking about everybody here. Again, it can be like, oh my god, race, or like, oh my god, sexuality. But it can be for literally anybody. You know, like people like in the different, people represented in different mental health groups, you know, neurodivergent people versus like, neurotypical people, you know, any type of group that deserves more representation. I just think that we all can do a better job of support, education, and appreciation. Because again, when an entire group of people that obviously deserve to be represented, but are then not feeling that they are, jump on one person or a couple people because they don't as a whole feel represented, it can really lead people who are maybe making things that are from their own marginalized experience, or think about making something, or want to support more, and it can just make them shy away because they feel like they're going to be, if they make a mistake, if they make one mistake, they're then going to be canceled and, you know, spat on and just you know, thrown out. But it's really not fair. And then we as a group will then sit back and once they're like thrown out and be like, so where's our representation? It's just not fair. No, we're not going to get there like that. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to get as far as we want to get to a place where as many people as possible can feel represented in this marginalized media if we continue to bat people over the head for making mistakes and for just talking about their own experiences. Again, no one person no entire group can be represented by one author. Not possible. And so we should really just try to dig in with support and love and empathy more often, than immediately jumping on the train of like, you did something wrong. And this is, again, a call out for myself, because I've done this before and I don't want to do it ever again. I, myself, am saying right now that I'm going to make a conscious effort to support more things, whether I read the book, whether I like the book, whatever, with marginalized representation, and spend more time on doing that than on nitpicking the things that differ from their experience or the experience of their characters from my own. You know, we're going to get more representation, people. But the way to that is supporting people who are already representing us, okay? Us who are already representing us, you know? That's the way to get more people interested in it, inspired to do it, and to ensure a greater community around when we do make mistakes, because we are. The point is that we haven't even really had the chance as any marginalized group to be in the places of power to make ourselves represented more often. And now that we are, it's a learning process. There are so many things to be learned in the industry and in writing and in creative and whatever. And so giving ourselves and others the leeway to do our best, so important. Love y'all. See y'all later. Talk to y'all again soon. If you want me to talk about anything else, I have discussions on my mind, usually a lot. Hopefully in the future I'll have more, and then I'll come in and talk to you guys. Because I really enjoy talking, and I hope that it helps some of you, or all of you, in Jesus' name. So I love y'all. I will see y'all later with another video. Hope you enjoyed this. Bye!